Hello and welcome back everyone. In today's video I wanted to show you guys an interesting knife that was made by a company called Uzi, or as some people called it, Uzi, but I believe the proper pronunciation is Uzi, after the creator of one of the most infamous or famous submachine guns, the Uzi 9mm. Now, everyone knows and loves the little submachine gun. Even Chuck Norris, I think, was sporting them for a while. And I saw this knife, and as you probably guessed from the title, being called a collapsible fixed blade knife. Now, this is very interesting to me. The only other knife that I had seen that was a collapsible but also a fixed blade knife is this Paratrooper knife, the Pantographic knife that I've made a video on. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. You can go check that out. But I had not seen too many collapsing solid, fixed blade knives. Usually knives have some sort of a folding mechanism, so I was intrigued to find out what it is, how they achieved it here with the Uzi knife. Now I looked online and there didn't seem to be too many videos. There was one other YouTube creator, I think he's from Czechia. He'd made a video on this, but unfortunately he presents it in Czech, so I don't understand what he said. They're shorter videos. He showed how the knife works. I thought maybe I can do a long, detailed version of it. So without further ado, let's dig into it. Now the box is a sliding box. You slide it out. Here in the back you got Made in USA, a little SKU number. You get a little black box. Inside the black box you have the knife and a small pamphlet of instructions. Now the instruction is really interesting. I read it. I'll hold it out here so you can pause and read it as well. But I will go over them regardless in this video. The knife is in this little bag. There we have the knife. It comes with these two little straps, which we'll get into later. But without further ado, let me show you how it deploys. You just grab it here and you pull it out, and there you go. The knife is here. Now you can see it's got a really nice edge. Now when closing, you have to mind these two little tongs, and they have to go into these two openings inside the composite handle. You have to take care that they go in nice and carefully, and then just close it up like that. Now when I saw this at first, I thought to myself, well, this is an interesting design. It deploys much faster than the aforementioned Pantographic knife, the Paratrooper knife that I reviewed, because you just grab this and you yank it out. While I'm actually pulling the sheath away because I want to keep the knife in frame, but you would pull the knife out of the sheath and then you'd have a knife ready to go. But my question was, well, that's kind of cool and all, but how does it work? And the answer to that question is with these two forks, these little tongs that are here. And if you could take a look, sorry I'm pointing the tip right at you, at the camera actually, but as you can see, there's a little pin that sits at an angle like this. That pin is what locks the blade from sliding back into the handle. And when you put the knife right there into these tongs, those tongs straighten out that pin and it'll slide down into the handle, which is, I think, is really genius. I found this to be really cool. And I as soon as I played around with it a little bit, I figured that out. Now with that out of the way, let's see about these straps. Now, as you can see in this little diagram, they show you how to attach it to the small of your back. It's not necessarily that you would have to put this on the small of your back. You could put it on your side as well, because it carries you know, horizontally like this rather than, you know, vertically. Now I have a little belt here. Let me see. Pull out a little belt. This belt is from Grip 6, which I highly recommend. But this is just as an example. These would go here, and you would attach it like so onto your gear, which is really nice. It would be there on your back or on your side. These straps also come off completely, which I think is really nice, because if you happen to break one of these straps, you could just, you know, you could make your own, or even if not, these holes on the side, they go through and through, so you could maybe fish through a piece of paracord and use that to attach it to your other gear. But yeah, it's pretty versatile when it comes to that. With that being said, another feature that it has here, you can see it mentioned here, they call it the ready to grab mode down here. The way that works, from what I understood in the little pamphlet, is you pull this knife partially up to here, but it's mentioned here that as soon as you go into this ready to grab mode, you shouldn't be walking or, you know, doing any heavy activities with it. This should be only when you're ready to, you know, deploy it, and then you just grab it and pull it out and it'll be ready to go. Now, one thing which, as soon as I get into the pros and cons, you will see, is that you have to pull this knife out with some force to lock it into place. It even mentioned it in the manual that you have to pull it in a swift motion to ensure the blade locks open properly, and that is one of the cons. It is really cool in the fact that the way it opens is kind of unique, but the con is that you have to pull it open fast for it to lock in, and it is a locking knife. Even though it is a fixed blade knife, it still has a locking mechanism. Another con that I can think of is that unfortunately it is also slow to stow away once you have it out. You know, right now here we can, you know, pull it out, check it out. Yeah, this is pretty cool. But having to guide this into the sheath again and making sure these tongs go in while this thing is attached to the back of you or to the side might be a little tricky. I don't know. You let me know if you think that would be a bit of a drawback or not. What else? I had a bit of a list. Let me see if I can take a look at that. One other con that I can think of is that unfortunately this wouldn't be any type of an EDC. As some of you might very well know, I enjoy having some sort of a blade, whether that be a small Swiss Army knife or some other type of a folder. This may not be suited for that, because while it is really cool in the way it opens, it's not as useful for everyday, you know, use. The way I see it is, you know, the possible uses I see it, I think it would be more of a defensive knife. Not that I wish to, you know, say that it's the only thing it can do, but it seems like the purpose of this knife is to be used in some sort of a combat or defensive situation, because of the way it deploys. Now, with all that being said, you would think that I don't like this knife, which is not really true. Why else would I have it? There are some pros that I would like to share with you as well. I like the fact that it's a compact, you know, compact knife. I mean, when it's folded in like this, I have a little ruler. Let me take a look. When it's folded in, you have about like just shy of 6 inches of carrying space, and then when it deploys to a pretty substantial knife, which is at about 8 3/4 of an inch. We got a 4-inch blade on this thing, so that is pretty impressive. The way it is so lightweight is also really cool, and the grip is is fantastic. I don't know how they managed to get it to be this grippy, even though it's not. I don't think if it's. I'm not sure of the composite, like the composition of this polymer. It's not FRN or G10 or anything like that, but man, it has good grip. The blade is really nice as well. I'm going to let you get a close-up of this so you can read that. It says Moser Design Cryo Edge. Then it has the SKU number, made in USA, and on this side it's blank. Now this does come also with a serrated edge. I believe the SKU number for that is different than this. I also like the fact, this is a pro for me, that this blade is made in the United States. I really like that fact, and the quality shows. I mean, despite the fact that I might not carry it, I feel like this is a knife of high quality, and I would recommend this to anyone who is some sort of a knife collector or might even need it in a defensive situation, possibly. Now, with that being said, make sure that being in possession of this knife is legal where you are. I think here in California it might not be legal to be carried around with, but owning it is different. You can own it as long as you don't carry it. So I'm not going to be carrying this anytime soon as part of my collection. But yeah, that's what I think. This is a pretty cool novelty collectible knife. You let me know what you think of it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, and to share this video with other people. If you enjoy knives and other types of gear, feel free to look through my other videos, and I would highly appreciate it if you would subscribe to see more videos like this. And yeah, I will see you next time. Have a great day.